Hello, once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Rockstar Chronicles. Series 1, my book, featuring over 45 intimate conversations with the greatest music legends the world will ever know. It's available now at bookbaby.com and amazon.com. The Kentucky Headhunters, formed in 1968 when brothers Fred and Richard Young and cousins Greg Martin and Anthony Kenney, a Southern rock and blues band, Itchy Brother. In 1986, they renamed the band. The band's first album won awards in several categories. 1989's Pickin on Nashville became a hit and sold over 2 million copies. The Kentucky Headhunters are an international success, and their music blends multiple genres. The band mixes honky-tonk music, blues, rock, country rock, and southern rock that appeals to many music aficionados everywhere, not just in the South. The award-winning band's latest release is entitled That's a Fact, Jack. How Could I is the first single released from the new album. The song was co-written with the band's friends and colleagues, Blackstone Cherry. The Kentucky Headhunters lineup is Richard Young on rhythm, lead and backing vocals, Fred Young on drums and backing vocals, Mr. Greg Martin on lead guitar and backing vocals, and Doug Phelps on bass guitar and backing vocals. Family connections exist between the Kentucky Headhunters and Blackstone Cherry's drummer, John Fred Young, who is a founding member of the band, and the son and nephew of the Kentucky Headhunters Richard Young and drummer Fred Young. That's a Fact, Jack is available now at amazon.com. Please welcome lead guitarist for the Kentucky Headhunters, Greg Martin, to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Greg.
Hello. Hello.
You know, with all this kin relations, that makes sense for Kentucky.
Well, it's the Hillbilly Beach Boys, you know.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Except somehow most of us are still together and, you know, still around. Thank God nobody's pushing up daisies yet.
You guys are still young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're hanging in there. We're hanging. I do have Social Security and Medicare, but I still like playing through these big bad boys, you know. I have fun with it.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you still live in Kentucky?
Yeah, I'm in Glasgow, Kentucky, South Central Kentucky.
Right.
Richard and Fred live about 20 miles from me in Metcalfe County. Doug is down in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Know where that is?
He's from Arkansas. You know, we adopted him way back.
Now, were you born in Louisville? Is that right?
Yes, I was born in Louisville in 1953. Right. I'm now 68. Soon to turn 69 by the grace of God. And I was in Louisville from 1953 to late 1966. And my dad was a journeyman printer.
Oh, wow.
He worked at Fawcett Printing Company, which turned into World Color Press. I guess they're still around. But he got fed up with Louisville. And my family roots are Metcalfe County. And one day he comes home from work and says, we're moving to Metcalfe. And it was bittersweet because all my friends were in Louisville, but since we'd been spending summers in Metcalfe, Edmonton, you know, with my cousins, and we'd made friends, you know, I thought, well, this will be kind of cool, the new adventure and all that. But I had just seen the Lovin' Spoonful in November of 1966, and it planted a big seed. Of course, you know, before that, seeing the Beatles in 1964. But off we went to Metcalfe County, and 67 was fairly uneventful. But in 68, I met Richard and Fred Young in the fall. And if Dad hadn't uprooted us in Louisville and moved down, I probably would have met them in some form or fashion. But you know, not it was just kind of fate meeting the guys like I did. You know, it was amazing. But yes, I was born in Louisville, spent a lot of time in Metcalfe County. I've been in Glasgow, Kentucky since 1979 now. Yeah.
Wow. My wife was a nurse in Louisville. Back then it was called General Hospital, I think, way back when. And that's where and she had an apartment there. And I think my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, they all went either to UK or University of Louisville.
That's right.
So yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Hey, we're kin.
Hey, if there's Kentucky connections, we're kin. Come on,
That's
man.
right. That's right.
Just let me know when Thanksgiving dinner is. We'll be out. Come
no
on.
problem. No problem. You're a Kentucky Colonel, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I am. Are you too?
Yeah, well, my wife is.
Colonel Ray.
Yeah.
All the guys in the Headhunters are Kentucky Colonels. And, it's a nice honor to be bestowed on us. It really is. Well,
I spent my first day of my honeymoon in Louisville near the racetrack there. I forgot the name of the hotel. But, we got married in Henderson. We drove up to Louisville, and the next day we flew from Chicago to Hawaii for our honeymoon. So that was quite an adventure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up about 1 block from Churchill Downs on Dresden Avenue.
Yeah.
And every Derby day, we would take the fence down and we would park cars, we didn't have a place to park. And you park cars for $10 or whatever. You park here, you make an extra $50, which back in 65 or 66 was a lot of money. But man, I could just hear that. I can hear or the I can hear that now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You might have met my wife. She worked the infield as a nurse, because during the races, there was a lot of drunks out there, and she was the one that had to take care of them.
It's funny, Ray. I never only went to the Derby one time, and it was either 1964 or 1965.
Wow,
and it's the year. Yeah, it's the year that the grandstands caught on fire. You can actually look it up on the internet, probably on YouTube, and you look up and there's a bunch of smoke coming, and somehow it caught on fire up there. It didn't. It wasn't too bad, but it could have been 65. So I just know the Beatles were huge at the time, because I remember transistor radios blaring out Beatles songs. We walked, and we just had to walk over to Churchill Downs because we lived right next to it. But when I was a kid, we played baseball and softball on the parking lots over there all the time. And you could actually sneak in there, but only went to one Derby, and that's kind of strange. Kind of strange, isn't it?
That is kind of strange. Yeah, usually that's the case.
Yeah.
It's like people here in Florida. I got the beach about 10 minutes from me. Not everybody goes to the beach, and they live here.
Right. That's right. Exactly.
Well, I want to tell you, man, that's a fact, Jack. I love the album. It was great.
Thank you.
Loved it a lot. Now, one particular song blew me away, and that's got some history, because you redid that tune when you were in the Itchy Brother band. And of course, I'm talking about Shotgun Effie.
Oh, yeah. Well, Shotgun Effie. Well, the origins of Shotgun Effie, we have to go back to 1973. There was a brief time when I lived in Memphis, Indiana, about 20 miles out of Louisville. A close friend of mine, Michael Perkins, we had a little trio at the time. And at the time I started Shotgun Effie at that point. It's about Richard Fred's grandmother, Effie Young. And I started a rough draft of it and probably messed around with it, played out live in some form or fashion. But then about a few months later, I'm working at Fawcett Printing Company. I took a job at Fawcett Printing Company for a while.
Right.
And until I figured out I wasn't cut out like my dad for that, And Richard, I it's so great. On lunch break one day, the superintendent from the bindery gets in touch with me, says, you have to, either I called home or Richard had called the bindery and said, can you call Richard at home? He said, hey, Epi, his
Mm-hmm.
grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
had agreed to give us so much money to go in the studio and record a little 45. And of course, I had Shotgun Effie started, and Richard had a song called Rock and Roller.
Right.
So at the end of 1973, I remember we got together on Richard's porch one fall afternoon, and we went ahead and finished Shotgun Effie up, and then we worked up Rock and Roller, and then we got together in November, and we went down to a little studio in Burkesville, Kentucky, and recorded Shotgun Effie and Rock and Roller, and little 45 was released probably the first part of 1974.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a little indie release, probably 500 copies, and we probably didn't sell very many. I think I've got 2 copies left. Man, I should have one here with me, but there's one here someplace. But you know, I was living in Louisville. The guys were living in Midtown. I graduated in 72 and I moved
Mm-hmm.
back to Louisville. That's what
Right.
happened, you know. And so being that I was working a lot, you know, we had to part ways temporarily for a while. And I ended up running an electronics store from 1974 to 1977. But that little song actually got its start in 73, 74. And when we were in the studio last year, originally Fred Young wanted me to sing Cheap Tequila, written by Rick Derringer.
Mm-hmm.
He'd been after us forever and ever to do that. There's a connection that Fred has with that song, and it's a great song, actually. You know, Rick Derringer recorded on All American Boy, and Johnny Winter had it on All Still Alive and Well.
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, I'm not feeling this. And there again, my singing chops, I really haven't sang that much since the 70s, I'll be honest with you. And I said, and I'd been in the back of my mind, I thought, I would like for us to do Shotgun Effie again, but I wanted to redo it. Right. In my mind, I wanted to slow it down and make it instead of, I wanted to kind of go, you know, kind of a real chug along thing.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got in the studio and we decided we were going to record it was the last song we recorded. It went right back to 1973. Fred counted off, and we banged that thing out. It was just about the same tempo. We had a better groove. I mean, really, it sounds the same. We're just older now. You know, you've heard the Itchy Brother version on YouTube.
It's on,
right?
On YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. My voice is way higher. My only regret about that song, the first verse, I can tell I'm struggling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I get more comfortable on the second verse and the third verse. I should have immediately went back after I'd done the third verse and sang the first verse again, because I would have had a better feel for it. But that's the way it is. But that song, Richard, Fred, Anthony Kenney, and myself wrote way back in the day. I mean, I started it. It's about Richard Young's grandmother, Miss Effie Young. Mm-hmm. And she was a great lady. She gave us the practice house. If we ever needed money for anything, she would, I think she bought Freddie's drums for graduation. Huh. And I know one year we were playing the soundstage in Louisville, and in order to play, we had to be members of the union. Mm-hmm. And she was kind enough to let us shovel corn out of the silo to sell in Haynesville, Kentucky. This was the summer of 78, I believe. And she let us go sell the corn so we could pay the union people.
Very cool.
But she did. She drove this old truck around. A little bitty lady drove the truck, and she had a gun. She did pack a gun. There could have been, I think there was a shotgun in the back seat. And buddy, and there was so much fun riding around with her and Richard, because she would cuss Richard. And she loved Richard. But my God would cuss him, and she'd look at me. You know, she was kidding, really, but it was hilarious. That lady has some character, man. Salt of the earth. I love her. Yeah. I loved her so much.
You know, speaking of character, your voice has a lot of character. You know, that you got that rock and roll raspy, you know, kind of like, you know, how Nazareth was, you know, okay, right? Yeah. It's awesome, man. I like your voice the best. I'm serious.
Oh, well, I appreciate it.
I want you to sing more.
Well, well, back in the early 70s, I aspired to sing.
Yeah.
And there was two people that really inspired me to sing. There was a local fella from this area named Kenny Lee Smith, who sang with a group called Buster Brown, and he was my hero, one of my guitar heroes early on.
Yep.
And I loved Johnny Winter early on.
Yep.
And that's who I thought, and back in the early 70s, I want to be Johnny Winter and Kenny Lee Smith. And but what happened? I got playing with bands that always had a singer, and I got lazy on learning lyrics, and I just quit doing it. I don't know. It was always somebody else that, I was in bands with Doug Phelps and Richard that sang a lot. And I've also been in bands with Jimmy Hall, who sings for Wet Willie. When you're around Wet Willie's singer, you go,
I know.
Yeah, whatever, man, you go for it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the kind words. My singing chops are down right now, but that raspy thing just kind of come from listening to Johnny Winter back in the day, and this fellow named Kenny Smith, who should have been a mega star, should have went on with his band Buster Brown, but trying to get a rock band out of Kentucky was really hard back in the 70s.
Right.
Exile finally busted loose, and got out of Kentucky. But my buddy Kenny, he was an inspiration to us, for sure. Yeah.
Well, it's a signature voice for sure.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I guess at some point we got to work it up live, and I'll have to. And then maybe next time we do an album, my voice will be back. It'll be back where I'll be more comfortable singing. I sing back up, but if you go back and listen to that early single, my voice was way higher.
A little bit higher, but it sounds very similar, in my opinion.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I thank you. So.
You were mentioning Jimmy Hall from Wet Willie. I had him on the show. He's a cool guy.
He's great.
He's awesome, man.
We did a project called The Mighty Jeremiahs.
A gospel record, right? You did a gospel record.
And the Headhunters are involved with it. A lot of Phil Kagi. Oh gosh, not Delaney. Well, he would have been, but Bonnie Bramlett's on it.
Wow.
And just a lot of friends. And
I got to get that one.
I wished I had some. I'm trying to get it back in print. I cannot get the printing company to get the pressing company to get back. I'm not sure if they're way behind or what, but it was on Ear Ecstasy Records, and they had really good distribution through Bayside. And Bayside went down, then Ear Ecstasy went down. And so I've been trying to keep it in print, but
what year was that? What year was that?
I believe it was released around 2009.
Okay.
And if you go on eBay, there should be copies on eBay.
I got to get that.
It's really a pretty solid record.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'll let you be the judge, but I think you'll like it. It's pretty cool.
Got a great lineup.
Hey, Jimmy Hall. Yeah. Jimmy Hall's on it. Come on.
Jimmy Hall, man. Yeah, I always thought he sounded a little bit like Mick Jagger, in the early days, his voice.
Well, there's a similarity, man. He's like a Southern Mick Jagger.
Exactly.
He tried out for Mick Jagger's solo band.
Oh,
but
really?
I guess he was qualified. Probably. Nick probably heard him sing and went, I'm not going to compete with this.
Yeah, he did well with Jeff Beck. Him and Jeff Beck did a lot of stuff together.
Yeah. Absolutely. I went to a Jeff Beck show in 2015, and I was able to sit on the side of the stage with Jimmy. He would trot out and sing 3 or 4 songs. He'd come back to the side of the stage, and I was in the dressing room with Jimmy, and Jeff walked in and looked at Jimmy and said, "You need a license fed voice." Jeff loves Jimmy Hall. Jeff sat down. We talked for a long time, and I got a couple of good stories out of him, and it was pretty fun. Man. Yeah,
he's a cool guy. I like him. Another guy, another Southern guy I like is Jim Dandy Mangrum.
Yeah,
from Barton, Black Oak, Arkansas. He loves to talk, man. He's a great conversationalist.
Yes, we know Jim well. We haven't seen him in a while, but we've shared shows with those guys. He's been on stage with us. Matter of fact, the first time we were playing somewhere, it seemed like it was Little Rock, Arkansas. I think it may not be he showed up some guy came to the bus. I guess his maybe his bodyguard or maybe a friend. So Jim Dandy wants to talk to you guys, and of course we wanted to meet Jim Dandy. Fred Young was a huge Black Oak, Arkansas fan. I mean, we all did, but Fred especially. So Jim Dandy come on the bus, and we got to meet him, and we said, "You want to sit in on a song?" And he said, "Yeah." He wanted to do Desperado. Said, "Oh no, you got to do Hot and Nasty." And Fred can do that drum intro, perfect. You know? And he got up with us, and it was on. We were opening up for Hank Jr. He got up with us and sang it with us. And so we've shared stage with him a few times after. Well,
you opened up for Hank Jr. a few times, I think, right?
Yeah, we sure did. Starting in '90 on the Lone Wolf tour. We did a lot of dates in '90, a lot of dates in '91, and then there was some scattered dates in the early '90s. I can't remember the last time we did play with him. It had to be late '90s or early 2000s. But we are having a reunion with him in Beaver Dam, Kentucky, August 20th.
Wow, great. That's sold out, I think, right? I think it's already sold out. Yeah, it's sold out. I saw that.
We're looking forward to that.
Awesome. You know, you got a pretty big tour schedule coming up. Is the tour starting tomorrow? Is that the first date?
Well, we've done 2 dates this year.
Right.
We back in January we played. Where did we play? Menville, Tennessee, and Jewett, Ohio, and then we had a month off just about, and now we're leaving out tonight. We're heading to Indiana. We're playing with Marshall Tucker Band tomorrow night. Then we're doing a private show in North Carolina. Then we end up on Tennessee on Sunday. Then next weekend we're in Alabama. Then I think Colorado, Texas,
all over the place. Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy year. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot busier than we realize. I think it's, we did 9 or 10 dates in 2020 because of the pandemic, and then last year we did 45, which was okay. But we try to do around 70. But I have a feeling this year they're probably going to be throwing dates at us, which I'm glad we're still working, man. We're still doing it.
You guys traveling by bus or plane on most of these gigs?
Bus.
Okay. Yeah.
We fly very little. I mean, we've flown to Europe, 3 times.
Right.
Sometimes we've flown to do cruises.
Yep.
But, we don't fly unless we really have to. Back in the 80s, I played with a country artist. We flew all the time. Man, I mean, there was times we flew in little bitty planes with this artist, and one night we just about run out of fuel, and I thought we were going to land on another date. It was crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought, okay, good Lord, get us out of here. I don't end up like Buddy.
Exactly. Yeah, and you filled in for Ed King with Skinner at one time, didn't you?
Yeah, 92.
Yeah.
In 1992, I used to go to the Dallas Guitar Show a lot.
Right.
And I took a trip. Me and our sound man, Steve Wilson, we went to Memphis. The Headhunters were doing a show at the Pyramid as a tribute to the Memphis Horns. And we hung out in the Delta for a couple of days. We went down to looking for Robert Johnson's grave and Sonny Boy Williamson.
Yeah.
And we went to Helena, Arkansas, and different places. And a friend was at the Dallas Guitar Show, and he said, "Hey man, you need to come on down to Dallas." And we were younger, dumber. I drove the van straight on down there. And of course we were the first day I meet Ed King. He walks up to me. Of course, I actually own his old 1958 Les Paul. I'll show it to you.
Really?
Yeah, right. You see the guitar in the front.
Wow, look at those guitars, man.
Yeah. That right here is a 58 Les Paul.
Oh my God. That's worth some money.
Yeah. That belonged to Ed King, and then Hank Jr. had it. Hank Jr. gave it to me pretty much. I'll give you a little rundown on these. This is a 64 ES335 that belonged to Travis Womack.
Beautiful.
He used it on shows. It's been on Mac Davis records, Osmond Brother records. It's been on, so many soul hits out of Muscle Shoals. And Richard played this a lot on the new album. He borrowed this. He loves this guitar. This is a 62 ES335 with PAFs. This is another Ed King guitar. It's an ES345, 1964. I bought that from his estate after he passed. This is a Billy Gibbons, a copy of his guitar that Gibson did. It's number 50. And in the back guitar is a 1957 Strat.
Beautiful.
Right,
beautiful.
Yeah. And but
very nice.
Anyway, the Dallas Guitar Show was something I loved going to. But the first day, this was 92, first day, I go down. Ed King walks up to me, and the first thing out of his mouth, and I'd never met Ed. He said, "I want to know one thing: are you guys a country band, or are you a rock band?" And I went, "Where's he going with this?" And I said, "Well, we're really a rock band that made it in country." And he said, "I knew it. I knew it." He said, "I was in the shower a few months ago, and I heard you guys on Farm Aid kick into Wishing Well, and I about broke my neck getting out of the shower to see who you guys were." And he loved our band. Hit it off, and we did some jamming at the show, and we exchanged numbers. And so fast forward to about May of 1992, in this very room, I used to have a fax machine, a business line. I was out mowing the yard back when I mowed the yard. I'm getting old now. Got a dozen, and but anyway, so I come in to take a break, and there was a message on the answering machine, and it was Ed King, and he said, "Greg, need your help. I broke my finger, and we got some dates coming up, and I was wondering if you could come out and help." Of course, immediately I'm like, I'm younger, and I'm going, "Why, sure." Now I think back and go, man, that's awful ballsy, because I don't play anything like Ed King, but he saw something in me, and I said, "Yes, I can." Then I talked to Gary on the phone. They sent me some music. I worked on it at home, and then the end of May of that of 92, I went down to Jacksonville for like a week. We rehearsed, and then in June, I think it was June, it could have been the end of May. Now it was, I know it all happened in May, but some of the dates were in May, because I know we did Memphis in May. So I did about 2 weeks worth of shows with the guys. And so basically what I do, I would play most of the show with them, but Ed King would still come out and play slide guitar. So I did. I helped them out, and they seem very grateful to this day whenever I see them. And actually in 94, one morning, Gary called me and said, "Hey, Greg, Randall's left the band. You're the first guy we thought of. Would you be interested in joining the band?" And I said, of course, in the back of my mind, I'm going, I don't know. That's an honor. And I said, "Well, let me call you back." And it took me about 5 minutes to think about it. I called him back, said, "Man, I've got a band. We've had a rough time. We've had a couple of guys leave the band, back just a few months before, or a year or two before." And I said, "I can't do it." So I said, Thank you for asking. And it's an honor for you asking. It was an honor playing with you." And that was it. And then Mike Estes ended up joining the band, and he thanked me. Every time he sees me, he thanks me. He said, "I appreciate it, Greg." And he tells me how much money he made. I'll go, "It's all good, man."
I met Ed King on Facebook, and we did an interview together. Real nice guy. And
wonderful.
I count people in like you do, and I do the intro and I do the bio. For some reason, I just started doing the intro and the bio, and I didn't count them in. And during my bio, he was saying, "Well, when am I going to talk?" So on the audio on YouTube, everybody heard that, all the diehard Skynyrd fans, and they came after me, man. I mean, why are you interrupting Ed King? Let him talk. Why do you have to talk? Oh my God, they let me have it.
Oh man, well they're a diehard bunch,
They are. They are.
Boy, they still fight over Ed, and
yeah,
there's still arguments that go on about all that stuff. I was out there when I was out there. Ed was there, Leon was there, Billy was there, Gary was there.
Yeah.
There was there was four of the members. The original members were still intact. Of course, Johnny was singing. Me and Johnny got along. I got along great with every one of them.
Yep.
Great. I have no regrets. Have no regrets saying no. And I'm sure they have no regrets. They're probably glad I didn't do it because they ended up getting the people they needed, really, Yeah. But, Johnny was always kidding me about Kentucky, just, hey, Kentucky, play something, and I loved him. And Gary, man, you'd be playing. I'd be playing. And Gary would just come up to you and bite you on the shoulder. I loved him, man. I loved him. He knew I was nervous when I started rehearsing with him. And him and Dale came and picked me up and took me over to their house one evening. And we sit there and watch Stevie Ray Vaughan videos and free videos. And he would watch Paul Kossoff play, and he would get real emotional.
Yeah.
Gary's a real emotional guy, man. I have nothing but I love them guys, every one of them.
I was working at the Capitol Center in Maryland, where they have concerts and things like that.
Yes,
I think it was when Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Special came out, and Skinner was rehearsing, and it was me and four other guys in the arena because I was working there. We were cleaning floors and things like that. So we watched them rehearse. So, and after the rehearsal, I got to smoke a joint with the original band. This was back in ~74 or something like that. Wow. That was pretty cool.
So you met Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie was there. I bumped into Ronnie backstage. Accidentally, I bumped into him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they're nice guys, like you said. Nice guys.
He was. Yeah. He ran a tight ship,
Yeah.
And now, so Ed King was in the band at the time, right?
No, he wasn't there. That was it was after Ed King. Yeah.
Had Steve Gaines joined yet, or was it the?
I think so. Steve Gaines was there. All the other guys were there. Yeah.
Oh, Steve Gaines was an amazing player. Man, when I went out to play with those guys, I never could get that little that little intro. I don't know if anybody can do that intro to I Know a Little like Steve. That guy was freaking amazing, man. He was a great country player.
Yep.
He was a great rock and roll player. He was just a guitar player's guitar player, that guy was. And they all were great, by the way. But evidently when they added him to the band, boy, the musicianship shot way up there.
Yeah.
And,
Definitely. Well, you're a great guitar player, man. Well, you really are.
Thank you.
And in some of these tracks, man, you were incredible. Like We Belong Together.
Oh, thank
you. Some of that, it kind of reminds me of Van Morrison a little bit, that track, I heard a little bit of Van Morrison voice. Yeah.
That's a good song. Da, 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 da. Yeah, that's a really good song.
Good song, man. Really good song.
Hey, man, I'm lucky. I'm in a band that has good songs, and it's always fun playing on a good song. You can always find a part that fits, and we all do what we feel intuitively. We're working up something. We don't have somebody saying you got to play this part like this, or something. We make it a Headhunter song. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Even How Could I, when we heard How Could I on the demo tape, it was nothing like the way we did it. We kind of took it down the lane like the Rolling Stones go on a double date with the Georgia Satellites, and they're being chaperoned around with JoJo Gunn. So but it comes out sound like the Kentucky Headhunters. But man, I'm lucky that I'm in a band that that we've all grown together. We've all grown together. I feel like that we have grown on this album. I keep waiting to go, oh Lord, I dread the day when sometimes it happens, when the musicianship starts going downward and stuff, but I feel like the hasn't gone there yet. I feel like actually getting better.
I think so. You're supposed to get better.
Yeah, I would think so, man. I mean, we may not be selling as many records, but I feel like we're doing just as good. I think we're being who we're supposed to be at this time.
That's right. I was a top 40 DJ back in the late 70s, so I always pick what the top 40 hits should be. And one of them is How Could I? Definitely a top 40. I mean, that should be all over the radio, in my opinion. That's a great song. That's a really good song, man.
Yeah. It is. Thanks to Blackstone Cherry, and Richard had a hand in writing that. And then we tore it apart. And like I say, that the original demo, I think, was real minorish. It was just a whole different type of thing. But yeah, I believe it's a good song.
Excellent song, man. That's a Fact Jack. That's another one. Guitar's awesome.
Thank you.
That's you, right? Is that you singing?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not. No, I don't sing on that. I only sing.
You don't sing on that one. Okay.
That's Richard. Richard sings. Richard sings "That's a Fact Jack."
Right.
He sings "Watercolors in the Rain," and he also sings "Let's All Get Together and Fight." Richard's. We got a similar voice. We both come from that rock blues school of singing, but Richard has sang a lot more than I have. I've run from it for years, and but yeah, that's a Fact Jack. I call Richard's songs mini sermonettes, and it's like a nice little sermon, a little Southern sermon there. They'll talk, come on, what's wrong with you people? Let's get on track here. People not long, and it's crazy. I mean, going through the pandemic and people fight. Now, I'm not going to get into politics here. I won't do. I know. And but people are fighting over that, and it don't make no difference, man. Come on, the common denominator to make this world better is one simple thing. That's love.
Yep.
And we need some help from that way.
Yep. I agree. It's a vertical.
We need vertical help, not horizontal help.
And this Ukraine thing is heartbreaking.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
I wish I could do something. I almost want to go over there and fight. I get so mad.
I know, brother. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing. I haven't looked at the news in 2 days. I have been looking at the news a little bit more, but last year I quit watching the news. I started watching Westerns. I watched The Rifleman. I watched Gunsmoke. I watched Rawhide. I watched Wagon Train. I watched Mannix.
Yep. That's funny. Like all the oldies.
Yes, but it's hard. It breaks my heart to see what's going on over there. I saw a picture one day of this lady and her cat. She was getting her cat out of the country, and I'm like, man. And I'm a cat lover anyway. I got a big fat tomcat here, 20 years old somewhere. No, he's not. He's 20 pounds, not 20 years old. Sorry about that.
That's funny.
Leave it to me to screw something up.
A real rocker is Heart and Soul, man. That's like a rockabilly 50s rocker tune. Yeah.
Well, that was written by Doug Phelps, Anthony Kenney, Richard, Fred, and myself.
Right.
Oh gosh, I'm guessing late 90s, early 2000s.
Great song.
There was a cassette of it. And when we listened to it at the studio, the arrangement then, we weren't real happy with what we had done with it back in the day. And we just started jamming around, and we came up with that beat, and it took it more into a rock and roll, rockabilly direction. I tried to throw a few little Scotty Moore, Cliff Gallup licks in.
I heard all that.
A little little thumb picking, some of that, what Scotty Moore might do.
Yep.
And it's pretty reckless, and rock and roll is supposed to be pretty reckless, right? It's not to be perfect. Right. I like that song.
Yeah, mistakes are a good thing when you're recording a music.
They are. Well, they are, man. I mean, we try to do the right thing, but I mean, obviously, you can listen back. I listen back and I go, "Oh, what did I do that for? Why did I do?" You're going, I should have cleaned that sound up a little bit, or I should
Yeah.
have played that note. But this album somehow, I feel like most of it has a real spontaneity feel. It's very spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
There's an urgency to it. I mean, we went in, it came together on the floor. There was no pre-production except for maybe a few songs being sent back and forth.
Right.
And really, by the time we got in the studio, we worked them up on the floor. They become different animals.
Yeah.
And so it's got a freshness to it, and it just it wasn't overcooked. It wasn't
exactly.
overcooked.
The production was great. Good engineering. Good quality sound. Yeah.
David Barrick. Yeah.
Susanna, another favorite. Susanna, don't you cry for me. I
that's isn't that a great line?
Yeah, great line.
That's off that's a Doug Phelps song, and the inspiration behind that was the death of Levon Helm from the band.
Right.
We were on the road. Doug was doing his laundry.
Uh-huh.
Doug said he heard the news about Levon, and he said it just hit him in a way that song came out of that experience. And it's a very simple song. I mean, everybody's done. It's kind of a white room type of the chords. Is that little descending D thing that a lot of people. But it reminds me. It reminds me a whole lot of Blind Faith or something. But it's all right. It's got other elements as well. But that's one of my favorite songs on the album.
Great song.
And any lady married to a musician can really identify with that song. I've been married 41 years. And
congratulations.
My wife has put up with me. Well, actually 42 now, 42, but she's put up with me a lot of years. I've been on the road on a bus since 1981. And before that I was in a van, So, for a lady to put up with a traveling musician, that song.
God bless her. That's all I can say.
Well, I mean, all the guys in the band have really good wives.
Yeah.
We're blessed, very blessed boys, I'll tell you. Yeah. And that song is an ode to any woman that puts up with a musician, so to speak.
Yeah. I'm 39 years now, my wife and I, Wow. Is your wife from Kentucky?
Yeah, she's from here in Glen.
That's what it is. Kentucky, like Neil Diamond said, man, Kentucky woman.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, me too.
1967, Kentucky Woman.
Kentucky Woman.
Yeah, that's a great song, man. And I love Deep Purple's version too.
Yeah,
like that.
That's right. Yeah.
Great
See,
stuff.
I can tell you're a real music aficionado because you mentioned that, you mentioned JoJo Gunn, not everybody talks about those guys anymore.
Oh man, JoJo Gunn is one of our favorite groups.
I know.
When Run, Run, Run came out in 1972, I went and bought that 45.
Yeah.
Matt Andes is the slide player in that band.
I had him on the show. He's a cool guy.
You had Matt? Did you have Matt?
Yeah, Mark Andes. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark's they're brothers, and I've been trying to track Matt down for years. Matt is one of the finest slide players ever, and nobody ever talks about how great he was.
Yeah,
he played like rock hooter. I had a lot of rock, and I wanted to talk to that guy, but I guess he's real isolated. I don't know if he talks to anybody or not, but
I'll look for him. I'll find him. If he's still alive, I'll find him.
Okay, find him, man. He's an inspiration, man. He was an inspiration on Shotgun Naffy too.
Yeah.
I mean, the slide, I never really played slide. I heard Dwayne Allman, but really, Shotgun Naffy was kind of inspired by JoJo Gunn, Wes Bruce and Lang, early ZZ Top, that type of thing. But yeah, hats off to Matt Andes. Great player.
Okay, then on the album, out of nowhere, we get hit with Cup of Tea.
Well, that was written. I'm inspired by us going to the UK. We went to the UK 3 times.
Okay.
We got to go play rock and roll, ride around in a Sprinter van and eat fish and chips.
Yep.
And we played London 3 times, and that was Fred's contribution to the band. And I like to say that's a mini stripped down Phil Spector production.
Really?
It reminds me of 1965 is what it reminds me of. You know, that's totally different than anything on the album for sure.
Spoonful of Sugar, She's My Honeybee.
Fred Young, man.
That's Fred man. Young. It reminds me kind of a Ray Stevens tune, you know?
I love Ray Stevens, man.
Yeah.
You know, Ray is cool, and Ray's still doing it, man. God bless him. He just lost his wife.
Many years.
Yeah, he was happily married, but he does a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm infatuated with that TV show because, you know, he's still having fun. I don't know how old Ray is. He's got to be, is he 80 maybe, or late 70s?
He's got to be, yeah.
Yeah, but man, he does this show, and you can tell he loves what he does. And so, hey, maybe he inspired that a little bit, you know. Yeah. I like to think that maybe the Birds, the Lovin' Spoonful,
right,
the Turtles, maybe some of those bands from '65 had a lot to do with that song, because we layered some guitars. I layered a couple of acoustics, a tenor guitar. They went back and did an electric thing. Then Richard went back and put the little hook with a Gretsch guitar, and then we actually doubled that with some bells, which is kind of neat, you know. Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. Let's all get together and fight. Was this meant to be a Christmas tune?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
It's got the little.
Yeah.
It's got the classic Ernest Tubb and his Texas Troubadours intro.
The funny, fun song.
It's a holiday Christmas song.
Yeah.
But come on, man. You know, in Kentucky, it don't have to be Christmas. It don't have to be Easter. There's any opportunity you get a family together.
That's right.
It's time to fight.
Yep.
And I told this earlier today. When we first moved down from Louisville in '66, our typical Sunday was this. My dad worked in Louisville, but he would come home on weekends. My Aunt Bertha lived in Edmonton, behind the bank. So this was where the sisters would all meet. My dad would drop my mother off there. My Aunt Ruby, who was my mother's identical twin sister, Uncle James would drop her off. Uncle Stanley would drop off Aunt Helen. So here was the four sisters around this wood stove, and they'd get talking politics, and they would get fighting. Every week they'd get fighting about something. And then one time my Uncle Carl came home, their brother, and they got him so mad he didn't show up for a year.
Jeez.
But they would fight all the time. So it didn't have to be Easter or Christmas. But this is Richard's unique look at Christmas, and people getting together and fighting and raising hell.
So funny. It's Grandma throws the first blow, and it wouldn't be Christmas without Black Eyes. And then, of course, you end the song with Old Kentucky Home.
Yeah, isn't that great?
That's awesome. I really enjoy that.
Well, we it's fun. We got to do it on the Grand Ole Opry too, you know, and which was interesting. I think people got a big kick out of it.
That was your first time there, right? At the Grand Ole Opry? That's your first time there?
Yeah, collectively, the first time the Headhunters had ever played the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow.
Some of us had done the Grand Ole Opry in the 80s with different artists, but it wasn't the same. I guess in the early 90s, the Opry was scared of us. They were scared of our hair. They thought we were wilder than we looked, which really were quite tame guys, you know. And supposedly Roy Acuff didn't want us around. You know, and that's probably true. I'm sure it's true.
Yeah.
We were asked sometime around 2000, I don't know, 17, 16 to do it. And we just wanted to bring our own amplifiers, and they wouldn't let us do it. And we said, no, thank you. And I thought after that, that's it. We'll never do it. But they come back to us last year and asked us to come do the Opry. And we made a request to bring our amps, and they said, sure. And they were more cooperating, and we did it. and it's one of the greatest things we ever did. We
Awesome.
got a standing ovation at the end. We did
Yep.
3 songs. The Grand Ole Opry people were wonderful to us. Great experience. It happened when it was supposed to happen.
Right. That's
we end
great,
up
man.
funny. We end up doing Dumas Walker, Stumbling, and Let's All Get Together and Fight. Yeah. Stumbling, Fighting, and Dumas Walker.
That's great.
Yeah. Somehow they all fit together, I guess. So,
Yeah. Greg, I want to mention you got a radio show, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a DJ. Started initially, I did a little blues show in 1986 called Blue Monday at WLOC.
Okay.
And that didn't last maybe like 6 months, because at that time I was with a country artist out of Nashville named Ronnie McDowell, and we were busy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we worked all the time. The Headhunters did too initially, but I finally had let that show go. And of course, the Headhunters had a little radio show a few years too at WLOC called the Chitlin Show. We'd play live on the show until we got signed, and then things took off, and that was the end of that. But initially, I was so busy with the Headhunters, I had to put my radio aspirations on the shelf. And in 1997, a station in Campbellsville, Kentucky, hit me up. The owner did, and said, would you be interested in doing a Southern rock show?
Right.
And I thought about it. I said, well, I love Southern rock, but can we do a blues show, and we can encompass Southern rock within that? I'd like to do blues, roots rock, Southern soul, some R&B, African-American gospel music, rock, blues rock, of course.
Right.
And the guy was agreeing to all that, and we did it. I started 2.5 years at this station, WVLC in Campbellsville, and that's where the Lowdown Hoedown actually started in November 1997, and I was there to April of 2000. And then the engineer quit, and at that time I had no technical skills, and I said, well, I'm going to take a break. Which after I took a break, I was really sorry. I really missed it. But then then WDNS in Bowling Green, Brian Locke contacted me, and he had just taken over the program director spot there. He said, would you like to bring the Lowdown Hoedown here? And so in November of 2001, I started the Lowdown Hoedown there, and I've done it 20 years there. So 22 and a half years, every Monday night from 7 to 10 for 20 years. I've been doing a blues show, and man, I've had a lot of, I've interviewed quite a few people on that show. Peter Frampton's been on the show, Billy Gibbons, John Sebastian from the Spoonful. And oh gosh, I had a list here. It's gone now, but there's been a lot of folks. Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple. Marty Stewart, Vince Gill. And but most, I don't interview any. About twice a month I'll do interviews. I just had Broen Lawler from St. Paul and the Broken Bones on this past week. It kind of an R&B steep band. But man, most of my show, like last week, man, we were playing Band of Gypsies. Ours was Band of Gypsies from the Fillmore East and some of the rehearsal stuff. Plus, I was playing some music by War, Electric Flag.
Awesome.
Michael Bloomfield, big hero, man. Big hero. And then this coming Monday night, I'll be doing some Lightning Hopkins and a lot of good blues, just going back to just blues. And we stream online. It's WDNSFM.com.
I'll be listening.
D93rocks.com. And we're out there, man. It's fun. I never
every Monday night, right? Every Monday night. Okay.
And if I'm on the road, we run a rerun. We have a rerun that we take. So the show runs one way or the other.
Fantastic.
And
do you list a schedule on your on the website, like who, if you're going to interview somebody, who's coming up and all that? Okay, good.
There is a Facebook Lowdown Hoedown page. There's also an Instagram page. We usually let folks know ahead of time. Of course, on my personal Facebook pages and Instagram, I try to let people know what's happening.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I enjoy it.
It's
The radio thing is, I grew up in Louisville
Mhm.
listening to WKLO, WAKY AM stations.
Yep.
And I used to go down to WKLO when I was a kid, watch the DJs through the window.
Mhm.
And just always something that really intrigued me. Two turntables, cart machines,
Yep.
this big Gates board. And I thought, this is so cool, man. You could just play what you want. I didn't realize they had a playlist, I was always infatuated with the little record racks they had, they could spin around and they could find a record,
Yeah.
And it was just golden. It was just a great time for music,
Yeah, we had a playlist, but every midnight I played All Along the Watchtower by Hendrix. I always went off the. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest songs. I can remember the first time I heard that in Cedar Flat, Kentucky. It was one November. It was so cold outside. But every time I hear that song, it takes me right back to that. Hendrix made that his own song, man.
He did.
He made that his own song.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you played that every night?
Every night at midnight. Went off the, when I was in radio, it was new wave. You had Blondie, you had Donna Summer. It was quite a mixture of top 40 hits, but it was so good. Not like today. It was a
man. It's different. The station I work at, WDNS, it's a homegrown station.
Right.
It's owned by a family, so it still retains that small. It's not very corporate at all. It's really a good station. So you could stream your. It's a classic rock station. You'll hear Jimi Hendrix quite often, and boy, that's a great song to play every night. I think a person should play that every day, probably. That's a great song, man. I love it. Absolutely love it.
You're lucky you're on a non-corporate station, man, because I can't stand those guys anymore. Oh my God. They ruined radio, they really did.
You're exactly right. I'm lucky. I thank Brian Locke for asking me to come down here and do it. I never get tired. I mean, physically I'm tired sometimes when I go out. Sometimes I've literally got off the bus at the rate. I would have my CDs with me because I knew there was going to be tight. And I would literally get in the van and just run down to the show, but sometimes I just can't do it. And I might come in at 8:00 at night and I'll be listening to it with everybody else,
Yeah.
But I'm very lucky to get to do it. And I hope someday I'd like to syndicate it, like a smaller version of it on terrestrial radio. Cause I know there's still a few stations out there.
Yeah.
We also carry Chasm Sultan's show.
Okay.
Do you know who Chasm Sultan,
sure.
Right.
Utopia? Todd Rundgren from Utopia.
Yeah. I saw the Raw tour in 77 in Louisville.
Yep.
And Chasm has a really cool show.
Yeah.
That airs on WDNS on Sunday night. And of course, Alice Cooper, they run Alice Cooper's syndicated show. But Chasm does a really cool homegrown thing as well, which is pretty good. I'd like to do something like that. I would have to produce the syndicated version for sure. Which I'll do it here eventually. When right now it's down to still playing guitar and hanging in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to give that up.
I'm not ready to give that up yet, man. I get up in the morning, get me a cup of coffee, and I immediately go to Dave's guitar website and go, oh, what kind of guitars do you got today?
I know.
I do that every day. You know how that is, man.
I know. I had a 73 Fender Telecaster that I sold. And I had a Gibson Flying V. I sold that. Yeah. But the Telecaster had 1 million autographs on it. I had Alvin Lee, John Kay, Johnny Winter. I mean, I had 1 million autographs. Yeah. Man.
Boy, you talk about Alvin Lee. He was such an inspiration.
Yep.
When I was younger, I heard I heard I'm Going Home on Woodstock. and I hadn't heard the other, their studio albums at that point. And I thought, oh my God, it was about like, to me, it's probably about like hearing these kids hearing Van Halen in 1978. He was extremely fast,
very fast. Yeah.
And I went back, and of course I love the 10 Years After Undead album. You know that one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is a live album. Great album. Alvin Lee was fantastic. And I assume he was a nice fella, right?
Nice guy, real tall guy. I hung out with him backstage. He played my guitar. Ansley Dunbar was back there as well. Eric Burden was back there. There was a lot of guys. Some guys from Humble Pie. Shirley, what's his name? Jerry Shirley or something like that.
Jerry Shirley,
yeah, he was there. Very cool.
We met Ansley Dunbar.
Yeah.
In York, Pennsylvania. Where was it? I don't know what year. Oh yeah, I do. It was 1997. We were playing a festival, and he was playing with Ansley was playing with Eric Burden, and it was a thrill getting to meet him.
Yeah,
getting to meet him, man. Yeah. Fred loves him, of course, as any drummer would. But everybody you mentioned, you're talking about Humble Pie. Gosh, what a great band they were. And gosh, that was such a great era.
It was, yeah.
From 60, I like to say 65, well, 64. Let's go back to 64, the early 70s. It was just a magical time.
We were lucky. We were so lucky.
Yes, we were.
Radio was great back then, too.
Radio was amazing.
Yeah.
Radio was amazing. I grew up listening to AM radio. And there was a couple of really cool AM underground shows that I listened to, the Subterranean Circus out of Chicago, Beaker Street out of Arkansas.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Louisville, FM was starting to come in. We had WLRS and WAC out of Fort Knox. And it was just wonderful. The DJs would, I remember they back when they would play a whole album at night, turn your tape recorders on. Yeah. The industry don't want to hear that now, do they?
Play strange music like Frank Zappa and Captain Beefheart and
Mother's Invention. The station in Chicago, one of my heroes was Ron Britton. He had the Subterranean Circus, and I got to know him later in life. He just passed away last year, unfortunately. And I didn't realize when I was listening to him in Chicago, he was originally from Louisville. And he moved back to Louisville, and we become friends. And he actually, when I did my 18th anniversary show, he came down and co-hosted it with me. That was cool. But his show, he had some talk bed music by a group called United States of America. They were like some underground group.
I think I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're and actually seemed like one of the members is from Kentucky, but they were an underground band that put 2 or 3 albums out, and they got a cult following. There's so many bands like that. I was into, Nas with Todd Rundgren.
Yep,
I love that band. Of course, groups like Cactus, who never really sold that many records. They were a great concert.
Great band. They got a newer album now. I had Carmine on that long ago. Yeah.
I think Carmine likes to talk, don't he?
He's a good guy. Yeah. Yes. And Vinny too. Vinny's a nice guy.
Yes. And I think Paul Warren may be playing guitar, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Get that Cactus album, the latest Cactus album. It's really good.
I will.
It's excellent.
Matter of fact, last weekend, I just picked up a independent release of a show from 1970 at Temple University. It must be a soundboard recording. So I will. I new album as well.
It's really good.
I had Tim McCarty, Tim Bogert and Jim McCarty I had on the show, but I've never talked to Carmine. I'd like to sometime.
He's easy to get. I can email you his address if you want.
Yeah. Well, I'll do. Thank you.
He's a good guy. One guy I really admire is a good friend of yours, Warren Haynes.
Oh yeah, Warren is. Warren. I met Warren in 1982. I was with Ronnie McDowell.
Right.
He was with David. oh gosh, what's his name? The mind just went
There
blank.
you go.
Oh Lord, what is the outlaw country guy? Oh gosh, it'll come to me here.
What band?
Well, he wouldn't even have a band.
Oh, okay.
His first album was he's in front of a hearse. Was it? Oh, David. Oh God, help me. And
It'll come to you.
it will here in a second. We'll talk. But anyway, I was with Ronnie McDowell. He was with this outlaw country artist, and them two sharing a show together was a miracle anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am. I had just come out of a rock and roll band with Itchy Brother with Richard and Fred.
Mm-hmm.
And I meet Warren Haynes, and he's playing these guitars shaped like guns. And I'm asking him, so, oh, okay, so you're playing these guitars. He said, well, yeah, David wants us to play these guitars. I almost said it. It'll come to me here in a minute. David Allen Cole.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, he's
David
big.
Allen Cole wants us to play these guitars, and because if he fires us, he just wants to put us on a bus. He don't have to ship a bunch of gear back. So we hit it off. You know, he knew that I come from a rock and roll background. He come from a rock and roll background. And then over the years, you know, we've kept up with each other. I've had him on my show. I've jammed with him.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for him to jam with the Headhunters sometime, but that's never happened yet. But someday
that would make sense. You know, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, he needs to come jam with us, man. We'd love to have. It'll happen. These things will happen. I went to an Allman Brothers show. I have one regret. Back, I don't know what year it was. It was 2003, 2004. The Allman Brothers were playing outside of Indianapolis, and Warren got me tickets. No, Warren didn't get me tickets. We bought the tickets, and somehow I had passes. And after the show, Warren said, why didn't you tell us you were here? We got you up to jam. I'm like, I don't know. Now I did get to jam with Buddy Guy about 2 weeks ago.
I saw that. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
How cool was that?
It was freaking great, man. It was great. It was an honor for him to even have me on the same stage. But I regret not getting to jam with the Allman Brothers, you know.
You would have fit in perfectly. Yeah.
I would love to have done that. But hey, you know, it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
But being Warner buddies, matter of fact, I've got to send him one of these right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little pedal that a guy built. It's a copy of my, well, actually I came up with this. It's a little booster. It's not extreme, but like if you got like a little champ amp or a little Fender, you want a little bit more gain,
right?
It'll pump it up just a little bit more. And I'm going to send him one of these right here. It's called a Cedar Flat Lightning pedal, and I grew up in Cedar Flats, Kentucky. That's why we call it that.
Very cool. Yeah.
And if you look real close, it says the stank knob. So I got one of these for Warren. I've got to send it to him.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Allen Cole. Yeah, we got him right.
There you go.
Brain fart.
Greg, here's your last question.
Okay.
This is a question I ask everybody. I get some very interesting answers. You know the movie Field of Dreams, you know, the baseball movie?
Yeah.
Well, in the movie, Moonlight Graham gets his wish fulfilled. So I'm going to ask you if you had a wish to perform, collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
It would have to be being able to sit down with Jimi Hendrix. Maybe not perform on stage, but just sit down with him. I mean, I could say there's three people I could think of right off the bat. Well, let's say Jimi Hendrix number one.
Okay.
Because really the style of guitar that I aspired to play, even though Eric Clapton was really my first inspiration, it took me a while to understand Jimi Hendrix was the greatest, man, to me. And I really, as I've gotten older, Jimi Hendrix is just so deep. He's so deep, man. I would love to have met him. I would love to have met Duane Allman.
Yeah, exactly.
Delaney Bramlett always told me that me and Dwayne would hit it right off.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the first time I jammed with Dwayne Allman,
Yeah.
I mean Dwayne Allman, I wish. Delaney Bramlett.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, you remind me so much of Dwayne. I'm just
Really?
jealous. Dude, I don't know what it was. I don't
Huh.
play like Dwayne. I know I've tried to copy a lot of his licks and his slide playing, this and that, but I played a little benefit in 1997 in Scottsburg, Indiana, and they had flown Delaney in, and I got to play with him, and it was amazing. It was amazing. He said, "Honey," he always called you honey. So, honey, you remind me so much of Dwayne. You and him would have got along really well.
How about that? Huh.
Yeah, it was great. Of course, Delaney's gone, but I would say Jimi Hendrix. It would have been wonderful just sitting down with him and gleaning something from him.
Yeah,
because he was a very deep thinker.
Yep.
And he was a very deep guitarist, and he accomplished so much in his what years he was with us. Just amazing. So I heard somebody say today, well, what would he have done if he was still with us? Well, he done so much when he was around. Nobody's caught up yet.
Exactly.
I don't think nobody's caught up.
That's a good point.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, I love Eddie Van Halen. He took it a different direction.
Yep.
The first time I heard Sunshine of Your Love on AM radio out of Chicago, and as the first time I heard a guitar sing, so to speak, on that solo, it sounded like a voice. And then you bring up All Along the Watchtower. That guitar solo is so beautiful. It is beautiful. That vibrato, just it's so vocal, man. I mean, I would just love to have met him.
Yeah,
I really would.
Jimmy's music never gets old. It's never passé. It's always fresh.
I agree. Yeah. It's like the Bible. Every time you go to it,
exactly.
God put him on earth for a brief time, and he gave him something to say, something to play, and everything that I believe us rock blues guys try to do. And people might want to argue that some of it came from Jeff Beck, but I really think that Jimi Hendrix is the springhead of it all. Really, I love Jeff Beck too. Right. I love Jeff Beck. I love Eric Clapton. You can learn from everybody.
Sure,
every style.
Exactly.
But if I could go back to a time when Jimi Hendrix lived at Campbellsville, Kentucky, was a paratrooper.
That's right.
Playing with Billy Cox. That's when I would love to have met him. That's when I loved to have met him.
You never saw him in concert, huh?
Never saw him in concert. But I had a friend, Steve Ferguson, who was one of the founding members of NRBQ, and he was a great guitar player.
Yep.
Jimi Hendrix loves Steve Ferguson, and Steve passed on. When NRBQ used to play at the Scene in New York, Jimmy would bring people down to hear Steve play, and Jimmy would be over going, "Play, Fergie, play!" And Ferguson was not into the psychedelic thing whatsoever. But the thing that brought Jimmy and Steve together was their love for Lonnie Mack. Yeah, they both loved Lonnie Mack, and Jimmy took Steve up to the studio one night when Steve was there when they were working all along the Watchtower, and he said, "Man, I remember they were just taking forever doing it." Yeah, I'm sure Dave Mason was playing 12-string along with Jimmy. Yeah, but man, that would be the one guy. Now, as far as people alive, I'd love to play rhythm guitar for Eric Clapton. But I don't know if that ever happened. He walked by me at the Grammys one time, and all I could do was make a guttural noise, and he just nodded at me and walked on.
I think it's so funny when rock stars like yourself go gaga over other, your heroes, and I hear that all the time. Man, it is so funny. I feel like if you quit doing that, then your shelf life is done. You got to have that passion. You got to have that youthful love that you had when you were a kid. Right. Right.
we got to meet a lot of our stars and be friends with a lot of people. Ronnie Montrose was a big hero of mine, and I got to know Ronnie really well, and he was a mentor to me. Walked into a room one time, met Ringo Starr.
Mm-hmm.
It was completely unexpected. We were playing Farm Aid, and well, this is what happened. me and a friend were walking, and we were playing Farm Aid in Iowa, and a friend of mine named Dean Smith, he was hanging out with the Headhunters on this trip, and we were walking backstage, and there was this guy on the steps of his trailer, said, "Hey, you want to meet Ringo Starr?" He knew our manager.
Right.
And we were going, "Yeah, we do." And so we walked in the trailer, and Ringo put his hand out and said, "Nice set, mate." And he'd been watching us on TV. And man, in the room was Johnny Cash, Roseanne Cash, Lala.
Wow.
And it was amazing, man.
That cool?
Yeah. I mean, music has been so good to us. It don't matter where you grow up.
Yeah.
It don't matter if you're rich or poor. Music, the light of music will shine on you and open doors that nothing else can. And it's all a gift from our
exactly.
From our
well, I'm not a musician, like touring and all that, but I'm living my dream, man, because now I'm doing all Zoom interviews with my heroes. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, hey, I love it. I can tell you got your production studio there.
Yep.
I love it. I like doing interviews because I want to pick their brain.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know stories like you do.
Sure.
Because it inspires me. And I'm still a music fan. Even though, we're in the music business and we've had some success and we're still doing it. And I still get a kick when I get to meet somebody, man. Like Buddy Guy, getting to play with him the other night was amazing. I'd met Buddy Guy a long time ago, but he didn't know. When I walked out on stage the other night, he had no idea who I was. Tom Hammer, he set it up. I think Buddy thought that there was going to be he has young people come out playing with him all the time.
Right.
And Tom set it up. And the guitar tech, I guess, it told Buddy somebody's coming out. I walked out there and he said, "We got a young man that says he can play the blues. We're going to bring him out and see if he can play the blues now." And I walked out and he looked at me and said, "Hell, you're not young. You're old like me."
You should have told him you just started guitar lessons. Here, I learned a couple things.
Man, I'll tell you what, I've learned stuff off that guy. I didn't realize it. That guy's a father to a lot of things that Jimi Hendrix did.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Beck. That guy, he's pretty amazing.
Those are the pioneers, man. Those are the pioneers. Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix was really into Buddy, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. Here's some little tidbits. You always like to learn different things, I guess. That Field of Dreams question, I asked Robin Trower, and I thought he would say Jimi Hendrix. He said, "No, I'd be too afraid to play with Jimi Hendrix." So he wants to play with James Brown.
I could see that.
Really?
Interviews, he always cites Live at the Apollo as a big influence. Now, I wouldn't want to play on stage with Jimi Hendrix, but I would like to sit down with Hendrix and learn. Funny. Just take something glean something from him.
Right.
I'm crazy enough that I would get on stage with somebody like that and get my butt kicked. But we had Buddy. We had not Buddy. We had Danny Gatton get up with us one night.
Danny Gatton. Wow.
After he played, what are you going to do? Just lay down. But he was such a sweetheart. Great guy.
I'm originally from the DC area. Danny Gatton was big. Roy Buchanan. Yeah. All those guys.
Yes, sir, buddy. Yeah. You had great Telly Meisters for sure, man.
Yeah.
Danny was a sweetheart. He toured with us in '91, and we were playing Toronto. And he come out and played It's All Over Now by the Stones, or the Womack. And man, he was so brilliant, man. Great. And I'll tell you, man, I'll tell you another guy. I regret this so much. Don't mean to take it all your time.
That's okay.
But Do you know who Reggie Young is?
Reggie sounds familiar.
He played this.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He was a studio player in Nashville.
Okay.
He played on Memphis Soul Stew. He played on In the Ghetto. He played Son of a Preacher Man.
Was that Dobie Gray song? Dobie Gray?
Yeah.
That's Dobie Gray.
Yeah, Drift Away.
Right.
He was a great studio player. And when I first went to Nashville in the 80s, the country artist I played with was Ronnie McDowell, and Reggie played on all his records initially. Then the band, we got to playing on Ronnie's records. I never did meet Reggie. Never met the man. I regret that. So I would love to meet Jimi Hendrix and Reggie. Sorry, man.
You mentioned
I met James Brown.
You did meet James Brown. Yeah.
I met him. Yeah, I met him at the American Music Awards. I walked smack into him at a party, and he said something to me. I never did understand what he was saying, but he signed a tambourine for me. Yeah, he was nice, very nice.
Nobody understands James.
I saw James around 1986.
Yeah,
in Nashville for a John R. benefit, and James Brown's band and B.B. King got up and played with him. It was amazing. Man.
Yeah. You mentioned Ronnie Montrose. I got to hang with Ronnie and his wife Lisa. At the last tour he did, I interviewed him, and then we were guests. I was backstage with Ronnie and Lisa, and it's such Ronnie. A shame though what happened with Ronnie.
Oh man, it's heartbreaking. That's really heartbreaking. He had left. We had played in Florida at this club, and he left a message there for me to say hi. And he had called me just about a couple months before he passed, and we talked. He said, "Oh, hey man, I got to go work in the greenhouse." And that's what he was doing at the end, a lot, playing music. He said, "I'll call you back." We never did get to talk after that, but I'm looking at an autograph right now. He signed for me. That first Montrose album and that stuff he did with Edgar Winter, of course, Open Fire, all that stuff is just amazing.
Gamma. Yeah.
Oh, Gamma. Gosh, yeah, he reinvented himself on Gamma, man. The first two Gamma, there's 3 Gamma release. Well, there's 4. There was one came out later, but the first 2, he was playing, he went more to a Stratocaster thing, and God, he could play. And he had Davey Pattison from
Davey Pattison. That's right.
Yeah.
Davey Pattison was probably the best, singer since Jimmy Dore, I think, with Trower.
Well, you're right about that.
Yeah.
You're right about that. It kind of comes from that Frankie Miller type
He had
thing.
that voice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm always excited when Robin Trier puts new music out. He's got a new one coming out pretty soon.
He does.
I believe Robin Trier keeps getting better all the time.
He's incredible. I love him.
Do you ever talk to Robin Trier?
3 times. Yep.
That's great, man.
He did a promo for me, mentioning my name and everything, and he's nice guy, very sweet guy.
I know he is, man. I love Robin Trier, man.
My hero I interviewed 3 times, but just recently, about 2 weeks ago, I got him on Zoom. Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull. That's my hero.
Well, I can imagine. I've heard nothing but great things.
Oh my God. He's so intelligent, you can talk to him about anything.
Exactly, man. I heard that he's so intelligent. He can
very serious guy, Yeah.
But, I love Ian Anderson. I love Martin Barr. I love Jethro Tull band, Bob Bunker and those guys. I can't remember the bass player. What was the bass player's name?
Oh,
they were the Benefit album.
Yeah, of course they've had several. Yeah.
The first album with Mick Abrams is really actually pretty good. They were a blues band initially.
They were.
Of course, Ian took it. Gosh, I don't know. Done what here.
Yeah.
And here.
Yeah. Lyrically, he was incredible. They don't write lyrics like that. Well, let me tell you, man, you guys are great. You've been around a long time. The chemistry is incredible in your band. Maybe you'll go another 20 years, huh?
Well, if the good Lord wants us to go, we'll go, man. I mean, when I get off here, I'm going to go pack some clothes, and pack 3 or 4 guitars, and we'll pack some CDs.
You're going to be busy.
I still pack a boombox and have it in my bunk.
Yeah.
I don't have a playlist on an iPod or on my iPhone or anything. I still pack CDs around.
Yep.
I'm gonna grab some CDs, and I'm gonna be doing a little homework when I'm out there, musical homework. But yeah, we're gonna be out this year. Like I say, tomorrow night we play with Marshall Tucker in Indiana, and that's cool because I love Marshall Tucker, and we're gonna be out there this year doing it and promoting. That's a fact, Jack.
That's a great album, man. You're going to be playing in my old stomping grounds. I used to live in Southern Maryland in a town close to La Plata, Maryland, and you got a gig there. You're going to be doing I think in the fairgrounds or something like that. Yeah, the fairgrounds over there.
Well, we played. Over the years since the early '80s, I've played all over that area. I know that area well, and it's always a joy. A lot of good music fans up there for sure.
It's hard to keep up though. Yeah, I was in Blondie did a benefit here about 10 minutes from my house, and I covered the show. And I was in the bus with Chris Stein, the guitar player.
Yeah, sure.
And he goes over and he asks me, he says, where are we? And what kind of benefit is this? I mean, he had no clue where he was. That's I mean, that might happen to you guys all the time, I guess, because there's got so many shows. It's hard to,
Yeah, well, sometimes I think I don't know where we're playing. I know this month. I know my schedule this month. I know that, tomorrow night we're in Indiana. I know we're doing a private show Saturday night in North Carolina. Then we end up in Greenville, Tennessee on Sunday.
That's good.
A week from Saturday, we're in Alabama. And then the following week, we're in Colorado Springs. Man. Then we go to Texas, and then we end up in Arkansas.
How do you remember all that?
I don't know. On the 20th, I don't know, man. On the 26th, then I come home on the 27th. I do a live stream for a company called Together, which is 2gthr.co. Charlie Starr. It's a guitar live stream thing, and I'll be doing that on the 27th at 5:00 Central Standard Time. I'll be tired when I do it because our merch guy, Spoon Frog, and he runs sound for me when we do it. We do it right here. I just play. It's the wildest platform ever was, because people will pop on and ask you questions, and you have people watching what you do. You'll play a little bit. They'll pop on and say, well, how'd you do this? How'd you do that?
That's pretty cool.
It's fun. Yeah, check it out. It's Together. 2 God, hang on, man. 2gthr.co.
Okay.
Don't go .com.
Right.
.go.
But
check out the demos because it's really cool. It's really cool. It's a subscription site, but man, you actually need to talk to Mark. You need to talk to Mark, the guy that does it, man. You guys would hit it off, probably.
Cool. Very good.
Yeah.
I want to mention there's only one date in Florida. That's the Thunder Beach Rally on April 28th in Panama City. That's
close to me. Is that very close to you?
No.
Wow. Well, maybe we'll get to see you sometime, man. Surely.
Yeah, man. Florida loves you guys.
We love Florida. We play Florida at least once a year. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Only have one gig so far.
Well, the year is not up yet, and we actually just changed agencies. So I have a feeling when you change agencies, that new agency's going for it. So probably we're going to be working a lot more this year than we have in a long time. We've already got a lot of dates. A
lot of dates.
Boy, I have a few. There's going to be more coming. I have a feeling. I'm afraid to look at the schedule.
It's long.
Yeah, we're going to be busy, but that's a blessing too, man. At this age, to still be doing it, and I'm with guys that I love, their family. Do we always get along? Yeah, most generally, but don't always agree on stuff. But long run, we love each other, and
yeah,
that's the glue that holds it all together.
exactly. Now, what's your wife going to be doing while you're gone?
Watching TV.
Uh-huh. She got company? She got some family coming over or anything like that?
My son Eric will be here. She'll be taking care of the 20-pound cat, Boodalo. His name is Boodalo.
All right.
And he's a rescue kitty. And he's named after Boodalo Bryant, the songwriter. And she'll probably be watching TV. Well, see, Eric works tomorrow, I think. He works at Goodwill. So she just keeps the home fires burning, and I'll be back home Monday morning just in time to get a nap and go do my radio show. And then next week, what have I got going? The normal interview thing. I'm going to go to Louisville, get some amps worked on.
Good.
Always stuff going on. Yeah.
So does your son play? Is he a musician or?
No, but he absolutely loves radio.
Oh, good.
He's just like I was when I was a kid.
Another future DJ. Yeah.
I don't know if he has that in him to do that or not.
Right.
But he loves. When I was a kid, I have these visions of this. We had an old GE tabletop radio that sat on the refrigerator in Louisville on Dresden Avenue, and my parents listened to WTMT, and that was the country station. Then my brother listened to WKLO and WAKY, which were the rock stations. They were rivals, but they were both great. And then there was a really great soul station in Louisville, WLOU. So, I was getting bombarded with soul, rock, and country, And then when I moved to Edna, that was my closest companion for, when I was young, was radio. I even had
Me too.
It was like a friend. It was like a friend. And I even had a car radio hooked up in my house, Cedar Flats, because you could pick up better. They had a better bass response, and plus they had a better front end for picking up AM. And I had an antenna outside, a filtered power supply, and a tube radio in the house. And I would listen to like Chicago, WOWO out of Fort Wayne, WLAC out of Nashville, which was the R&B station. And it was just an adventure every night on AM. As you know, you didn't, the stations would, because of the amplitude modulation is what we're talking about.
Right.
And every night, you might hear Chicago one night, really good. The next night, it may not be coming in, but you might be getting station from New York. You might be getting New Orleans. You might be getting Mexico. It was always an adventure. I miss that.
And
I really miss
that. The skip distance. I remember that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Same thing. Talking skip on CB radio.
Right.
You're right. You're exactly right. FM frequency modulation is a whole different animal. But now we don't have that luxury. We just go to our iPhones or
totally different animal, man. No more record stores.
No more record stores, and the adventure of radio. I keep get me another AM radio, but I don't guess there's that much music on AM.
Hey,
anymore.
We got me and you. Okay, we're keeping it alive.
Right, That's right. Are you doing radio at all?
Just my podcast. Yeah,
podcast.
but this goes everywhere. I'm on Spotify.
I know.
Pandora. Yeah.
Congratulations.
I'm on everything, so that's good.
But you've been a DJ. Did you ever think about getting a little AM, finding some little station around and just doing it for fun?
The ones I know, they're all corporate, and you got like 15 stations in a row, and they're all automated. They're all on tape.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
I would do it. It's fun. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too, man. There was really a really nice little AM station here in Glasgow, and they during the pandemic they were so great. But they switched formats about it a few months ago. They really had some good talk shows on during, but they're all gone now. They're just mirroring their sister AM station, their FM station now. It's just they're playing more like hip hop. I'm like, oh man, So
I was working with a station, BBS Radio out of California for 5 years before I did this. And we would simulcast, from California all over the world. So that was fun. but the studio was there, so I would talk here and they would transmit from California.
Yeah.
And then the station burnt down. They were in the town that all burnt down. What was the name of it?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the whole town burnt down, including the station. Yeah, that was weird.
Wow. Well, doing radio is fun. It's like when we were kids, man, inviting people over to your house and say, "Hey, have you heard this latest? Have you heard Smoking by Humble Pie? Have you heard Live at the Fillmore by the Allman Brothers?" Except I get to do this on the radio and I don't have to clean up the mess afterwards. It's great. I love it. I just love the mystique of radio.
Are you still spinning any records, or just everything on?
No, I hate that too.
Yeah.
The music director there, he's all about digital, and I'll bring up talking about. I'll talk about. He's got a turntable, and he just laughs at me.
There's nothing like queuing up a record,
Oh man, I love it. I love it. As you can see, there's a few records behind me. I think you can see it.
Yeah, there. I can see them.
I've got them out the garage. Look, if you could look, if you see the CDs.
Oh my God. Wow.
It goes.
I can't believe it.
Behind the counter, it's the same. Behind that tapestry, that's box sets over there. I mean,
what a
that's
collection,
my library.
Man.
That's my library, and that's the radio show. That's kind of that's my library for the radio.
That's your library. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can broadcast right from there.
Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. Eventually, I will.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, we learned a whole lot about different things, and of course, what you do, you've learned that you could do. You're doing your thing.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure a way that I can actually pipe it into WGNS on Mondays and do it from right here.
Good.
Eventually, that's what I want to do.
Get the engineer. He'll fix you up.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I want to do it. I want to keep doing radio until I'm 75 or whatever, I mean, touring will be a different thing. I mean, I'll do as long as we're healthy, but I've learned that I can do a lot of things out of this basement that I couldn't do.
But how cool was it? Just like what I'm doing, you're doing it. All the interview. I mean, you've had Peter Frampton. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
But
it's great.
Have you done any Zoom interviews with these guys, or are they actually in the studio, or are they on radio?
No, they just call in. They call in.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
but
I haven't really.
You got to do Zoom. You got to do Zoom.
I've just done interviews like with you, but I've never interviewed anybody on Zoom yet.
Yeah.
The Together stuff is real interesting.
Yeah.
You need to check it out.
Okay.
I can send you. Mark would let you check out a demo of that because it's really interesting.
Okay.
Because Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke is on there.
Yep.
Guthrie Trapp, a really great guitar player there's so many really good players.
Blackberry Smoke is huge in my area in Tampa. They're very big.
They're great, man.
They're very big here. Yeah.
Yeah. But up to the pandemic, I couldn't do nothing in this basement. From being on the road, it was just piled up with junk.
Yeah.
So
you got the perfect setup there. I mean, you got your library, your music library. It's fantastic.
I play music during the day.
Yeah.
Play guitar. Then at night I watch westerns.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, until the pandemic, I couldn't do anything down here because it'd become an abyss of.
Here's a quick trivia thing. Okay.
Sure, man.
Norman Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky. You guys do that. I heard your coverage. Great. I talked to Norman. You know why you wrote that song? Got nothing to do with religion.
Was he watching some TV preacher or some?
No, that's what they think. If you go to Wikipedia, go to his Wikipedia, you'll see my name, and because I told the truth or what really happened. He told me.
Oh, tell me what. Okay.
He watches westerns, and he was intrigued by the villains because they always said they would die with their boots on, and that's what sparked the song. The villains dying with their boots on. That's what he told me.
I had no idea. Great. I've talked to him a couple of times, and he was going to do the radio show. He was actually going to be in Nashville, and he was going to drive up to the studio about 2 years ago. I hope he's okay.
He was in a bad car accident. Did you know that? Maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Oh,
very bad car. He almost died.
So, but about a year ago, I contacted him.
Okay.
But I don't know if he ever made it to Brentwood or wherever he was going to go. But I'll get him on. I'll tell you a little something too. Do you remember the other cover that came out in the 80s by Doc and the Medics?
Yeah. Yeah.
We were playing in England.
Okay.
Motorcycle festival. I think it was 2016. I think it was the first time we went over.
Right.
First time. Well, we noticed this guy on stage, and he was very, very, he was a strange looking cat. He was dressed kind of like a super hippie or something. And finally I figured out, they said who it was. It was Doc from Doc and the Medics.
Really?
He was the MC. And we said, hey, we do Spirit in the Sky. He got up there and done this. He got up there and done it with, I don't know if it's on video anywhere or not, but I think that was pretty cool but now Norman has told me that we do his favorite cover.
Really? You guys do a great cover.
You may tell Doc the same thing. I don't know. But I love the version, but I love that guitar solo on Norman Greenbaum. I'm not sure if that's him playing the solo or not, but
I think it is him.
Oh man, that's a great solo.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It always reminded me of Randy California from Spirit.
Yeah.
Where it's got that same thing about it. But
it's funny. The riff sounds like the Can Heat song, and it also sounds like ZZ Top's.
Oh yeah, it's just a boogie.
Yeah.
Of course, Can Heat would do it. Boogie. Of course, Billy Gibbons took it, to another direction with range. But hey, man, we grew up with so many great influences.
Yes, we did.
So we got, the thing is, I tell kids this is that, we were around when Hendrix and Duane Allman and all these people, we were breathing the same air, man.
That's right.
So we were, we got it firsthand. I remember hearing Chuck Berry when I was young, but it didn't have the impact on me like Jimi Hendrix did, or the Beatles, or the Stones.
Exactly.
But I love Chuck Berry too. How could you not?
Me too. I like Little Richard. I can hear so much of the Beatles, from Little Richard.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you can hear Everly Brothers and their vocals.
That's right.
Kentucky boys.
Yeah.
Muhlenberg County.
That's right. And when you play your blues on your blues show again, play some Elmore James. That's my
absolutely
my favorite.
Open D.
Love Elmore James.
Yeah, that's my broom, man. Come on. Yeah. That's a good. I love Elmore. Elmo. That's right. Yeah.
Eric Burke did a song called "No More Elmore" or "No More Elmo," but it's a good song. It's all about Elmore James. It's on one of his albums. One of his solo albums. Yeah.
Boy, Eric Burden's great. Have you interviewed him?
I have. I've interviewed him. I've followed him around, watched him check into his hotel. He was backstage with Alvin Lee. Yeah. I've been around. I've got a lot of pictures with Eric.
That's great, man.
Yeah,
that's great.
He's a good guy.
We got to talk to him one time. There again, I mean, you've interviewed a lot of folks that I aspire to interview, but there again, my show is really more of a music show, but I got interviewing people, people would, I do maybe twice a month. I'll have somebody call in, but I think it's great what you do. And
it's fun.
And the thing is, what we do, it'll be left behind for another generation.
I know. We're keeping it alive,
We're keeping it alive, man.
We're keeping it alive.
We're having fun.
Having fun and keeping it alive. Greg, thank you, man, for being on the show today. You're wonderful. You're a great guest. Keep in touch. You know,
I will. You stay in touch with me too.
I will, man.
You got my number. You got
Yep.
my number, I believe, and just stay in touch and tell John
Yep.
that we had fun. Okay.
I want to say special thanks to John Lappin of Lappin Enterprises for arranging this interview today with Greg Martin. And your album, of course, that's a Fact Jack. It's available Amazon.com and probably on your website too, right?
Yep. KentuckyHeadhunters.com.
Yep. And you got Facebook, you got Twitter.
Yes,
got
sir.
your own website, which is www.gregmartin.com.
Yeah, it's going to be upgraded this year. It's antiquated, but yeah. Hey, I'm easy. I'm very easy to find.
Yep.
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. MySpace, it's out there floating around somewhere.
Yeah, no, nobody goes there anymore.
Yeah, God, it was so big. It was so big for a while.
One time. Yeah.
And but we're out there and we're easy to find, and hopefully we'll get back where we can do meet and greets again with people.
Yep.
Because last year we had to cease from that because a couple of guys got COVID. I had COVID in 2020.
Is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't real bad. I missed one headhunter date because of it.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah. Chris Robertson from Blackstone Cherry went out and played for me.
Right.
Good fella. And we'll be out there, man. Hopefully COVID will slowly fade away. I hope so.
5 stars on the album. Enjoy the tour, man. Good luck on that. And I'll be listening to you on the radio.
Thank you, Rick. God bless you, man.
All right, man. God bless you too.
See ya.
Brother. Take care.